Let me show you how I'm crushing my financial goals by using my weekly planner. For the month of May, I planned out the month and I made sure to put some important dates that I needed to remember. Also at the bottom, I have a scripture of the month that I focus on. The next thing I do is I jot down every single bill that is due for the month. No matter what it is, it goes on this paper because that means that I know that I have to pay this bill. Once I pay it, I mark it off. The second thing I do is I take those bills and I also write them down to reflect the paycheck that I'm in. What I do is I take those monthly bills that I have and I put it on this weekly budget here. At the top, you'll put your income and then you'll list every single bill that you have that you may have to pay this week or even next week. So that's what I did here. And then I'll make sure I put the amounts there and then the total. So in total, I'm paying $1,202 in bills. Holy smokes. For that, I made sure to plan out my expenses. So these expenses are everyday expenses that I need. I have an expense for dining out, an expense for grocery, gas, household, my license is miscellaneous, personal entertainment, and then buffer that stays into my bank account. Total for expenses this week, I'm paying $590. The reason why I put daycare in debt is because it's not due right now, but it's the fact that I know that it's going to be coming up and I like to put some money into savings. So I do put that in debt. What you could do though is put your credit cards that you have. So my credit cards right here, I typically put them under bills, but I can move them over here into this section. Now, someone asked me if you have like 17 credit cards, there's only a small section. I advise you to group those credit cards together if you can. So if it's the same company, like I had 2 Capital One credit cards at one point, I could group them together and put them under this category here. The next thing I have is savings, and my daughter always gets $25 of every paycheck that goes into her savings, so that's going to equal 25. And then in total, I calculate the bills, expenses, debt, and savings, and I have my total here, which is $2,150.